Hello everyone, welcome back to another session by K21 Academy. And today our expert trainer will be discussing something that you have been really waiting for, that is Microsoft Azure Administrator exam and interview preparation along with some sample questions. So watch the video till the end.
When we talk about question allocation, as Azure says that they have segregated the questions that they are going to ask in 5 different domains. That is the reason why we are going to talk about those 5 different domains. All the other modules are going to get submerged in this 5 different domains, in which we have already gone through it and we have already discussed about it. Earlier, what used to be that this virtual network module was 30 to 35%, but now they have downgraded it to 20 to 25%. It was good that they have actually downgraded 20 to 25% because they have increased this one 20 to 25% on compute. So basically what they have done is that there was one module on which a lot of questions were coming and other modules where questions were not coming. So it was difficult for the examining also to, while they'll be answering, they'll be thinking that why I'm going through this specific module when the questions will not come up. But when you will talk about real-time scenarios, we have to be pretty much aware of each and every module in depth. So, but just for an examination strategy, examination perspective strategy, what we need to do is that we have to go through compute and virtual networking. Apart from that, you have storage and your governance. So if you guys would be knowing that the examination will be of 1000 marks, which we'll see later also. Examination will be of 1000 marks, in which you have to score 700 plus, which is 70%. So if you will add these ones here, it is anyhow going above more than 70%. But it doesn't mean that monitoring and backup we should leave. So what we have to do, we have to prepare for all of them. But just as an examination clearance strategy, you can focus more on the other domains where more number of questions are gonna come. So that is what is regarding about question allocation. Now, general strategies. So when we talk about general strategies, we are just talking about some of the things that we should keep in our mind. These are nothing but these are things that we should be aware of about. We should be knowing. Anyhow, if someone talks about it and if someone doesn't talk about it, so read both the questions and the answer in full one time through. Identify the features mentioned in the answer. So what it is saying that first of all, before answering or before guessing or before assuming, we should understand the question and the answers that they have provided. So we should not assume anything, right? We should first understand because there are a lot of questions that will come as a scenario based question. So if you not understand scenario and if you only go through technical perspective, then it is quite possible that your answer will be wrong. So that is one of the thing, and this is just a common thing, right? It doesn't require someone to tell. It's just a common sense. Now, secondly, identify text in the question that implies certain features like business and technical requirement for modeling, visualizing, and analyzing data with Power BI. Pay attention to qualifying causes, that is in the most cost-effective way, which means it will best fulfill, will be the best fit. These clauses may eliminate certain answers. So what they are saying is that if you will put focus on few specific things that are mentioned on the question, then eventually you'll be able to eliminate few questions, and you will be able to see this what we are talking about here. Once you will actually experience the questions which we'll be discussing. In those questions, you'll be experiencing it, like you can remove few options which doesn't apply itself on those scenarios, and then you'll be left with few of the less options where you have probability to give the correct answer more. Eliminate obviously log answers to narrow the selection. That is what same thing only, right? So if you'll apply first one, the second one, the third one will automatically get cleared out. Modules into 5 domains. So the first module is configure and manage virtual networking. So in this first module, we are going to discuss about our virtual networking module and the major services that we should be knowing about, we should be aware about. So let's see. So domain 1 exam outline: configure virtual networks, configure secure access to virtual networks, configure load balancing, monitor virtual networking. So these are the few major points that we should be aware about. Now we will go through some sample questions. So the question here is, read out the question and the options. Your company has an existing Azure tenant name. That tenant name, the company wants to start using 𝐂𝐻𝐫𝐻𝐿𝐵𝑒𝐻𝑜use.com for their Azure resources. You add a custom domain to Azure. Now you need to add a DNS record to prepare for verifying the custom domain. Which two of the following record types you would create to start using? Okay, you had a custom domain. Okay, now you need a DNS record. Okay, so let's see. All right, the answer is B and C. By default, Azure will promote you to create a custom TXT record in your DNS zone to verify the custom domain. Optionally, you can also create MX record instead. The results are same. Other record types are not supported. So basically, when you will, if you want to use a custom domain name, then you have TXT record also as an option and MX record also as an option. If you guys remember, or if you guys will go through again, when you will create your DNS zone, and if you will add, let's say, abc.com, then for verification you have MX record and TXT record. So that is what this option is saying. Option B and option C. I hope that made sense to everyone. Our next question. What are the answers, guys? So just think about it. If I'll create and I can click and we can see the answer. But what I'm saying, with elimination, if we'll go with C, C is completely eliminated, right? I don't know the answer. I'm just thinking about it, right? I can also be wrong. That is also completely fine. Create rules for both NIC and subnet with an allow action. Configure the allow VNet inbound security rules for all new NSGs. And the last one is add rules with a higher priority than a default rule. So this is correct. I think so. Option D is correct. Now we need to think about option A and option B. So which one makes sense? Option A or option B? In explanation, just read it out. You should add rules with higher priority than the default rules. If needed, you cannot delete the default rules. That is also correct. Also, in order to meet the requirement to apply security rules on both VM and subnet, you should create rules with an allow action for both. If it is not allowed, then it is denied. My thinking was wrong, right? B and D correct, because if I'm not allowing something, if I have an NSG at VM level and if I have an NSG at subnet level, I need to allow at both levels. Then only the connection will be connected. If it is allowed here and if it is denied here, then it will not get created. If it is allowed here and denied here, again it will not get created. So both places we need to create it, right? There is no need to configure and allow inbound rule, as it is a default rule for any network security group that you create. This is a default rule. If you guys remember, allow VNet inbound is a default rule that will be there in your NSG, which I also forgot. All right. So the answer will be B and D. Now let's go to the next question. So read out this next question, friends. What do you guys think? What should be the answer? When you will get Azure Express Route, have you seen the option when you will create your VPN gateway? In that VPN gateway itself, there is an option called as Express Route. So which means that when you will create a VPN gateway, you need to have a subnet, gateway subnet to be there. I'm just talking. I don't know the answer. I'm just talking. So gateway subnet will be there. So if there is a gateway subnet already exists, then why you will create a new gateway subnet, right? That eliminates this option D. That's what I am saying. So you have option A, B, C and E. So see what they are asking. They want express route as well as site-to-site connectivity. So what they are talking about? They are talking about both of them should coexist. Well, basic SKU is capable to provide and coexisting connectivity if express route and side to side both are there, or gateway SKU1 will be the SKU which will be able to provide us that capability. Best assumption should be A, B, and C, right? Let's see the answer. So same thing what we have discussed is the actual thing that is in the explanation. A, B, and C, that is the reason I will select A, B, and C. So let's talk about deploy and manage Azure compute resources. So in this, we'll be discussing about Azure virtual machines. We'll be discussing about containers, Azure apps, and those things on that compute side of the thing. So read out this question and try to answer it. Which VM availability option should you choose? If we are talking about single data center, then it's talking about availability zone, as per my understanding. Answer is C, right? All right. Now let's talk about next question. This can be a little bit tricky, so even if we go wrong, then not a problem. We'll see the answer, okay? The answer is E. You use extensions configure diagnostic in your VMs to collect additional data metrics. The basic hosts are directly available on Azure Monitor, but to see more granular and VM specific metrics and log information, you need to install an extension on the VM. There are several extensions that helps to extend Azure Monitor capabilities. Linux Diagnostic Extension LAD 3.0 is one of these extensions specific to Linux VMs. So that is the reason why option B. Now one more question. Now read it out. Okay, let's see the answer. Okay. The answer is B. Modify the VM size property of the VM. When you have a CPU performance issue, then the solution is to scale up or increase the VM size. So if you can see that there is a CPU uses, it's peaking up like very frequently, then at last what you will do? You will increase the size of that VM for that specific time, and then later on you can decrease it, right? So that is what this answer is. Now the next question is, now I think it should be easy for you guys. Yeah, it's A. All right. So on the storage part, we'll go through and understand different storage services and different features in our storage accounts that exist. Now we have some sample questions for you guys. Read out these questions and try to answer it. Okay, let's see. The answer is D. You cannot delete a recovery services vault if it is registered to a server and holds backup data. So if you try to delete a vault, but it will not let you delete it. So first of all, you need to delete all the data that are backed up in the recovery services vault. Then only you can delete the recovery services vault itself. Now the next question is this thing. Your company is planning to store log, crash dump files and other diagnostic data on Azure VMs. In Azure, a company has issued the following requirements for the storage. You need to choose the storage type which needs the requirement. The storage type should use for Azure VMs. Okay, let's see. Saying that the answer should be A. Azure Files uses and supports Assembly 3.0 and is reachable via File Explorer and supports quotas. The other storage type do not support the requirement. While blob storage is good for unstructured data, it cannot be accessible over Assembly 3.0 and it has to be for Azure VMs. So on those VMs, the connection should be there. So that is the reason why they are saying Azure Files rather than going for blob storage. There is one more question. Think about it. Okay, so let's go through and check the answer. And the answer is D. You can switch performance tiers at any time, changing the storage account tier from hot to full increase the charge equal to reading all the data existing in the storage account. However, changing the account storage tier from hot to full incurs a charge equal to writing all the data into the cool tier, GP2 accounts only. That is the reason why D. Now, we will look into Azure Identities and Governance module, in which we'll discuss about Azure Active Directory and other features of Active Directory and governance part of the Azure also. There are a few sample questions again. So just go through these questions and try to give an answer to. So C, it is correct. All right. That is something that we cannot move. Check out this question. So The answer is actually B only. Join the device to Azure Active. Joining a device is an extension to registering a device, which means that it provides you with all the benefits of registering a device, being like able to enable and disable the device. In addition, it also changes the local state of the devices. Changing the local state enables your users to sign into the device using an organizational account or school account instead of the personal account. So the answer to the question was absolutely right. Now we have one more sample question. Check out this one. Any target policies and review spend budgets across several subscriptions you manage. What should you do? Select one. Several subscriptions is something that you're going to manage. It will be B, because you are going to manage several subscriptions. You can apply policies, you can spend limits, you can review budgets, this and that you can do. But if you have several subscriptions, to manage them, you will create a management group and then you will do all those things, right? So now, next question. So the answer is A and C. Absolutely right. So create tags for each department and create a Azure policy. You should create a tag with the key value pair like department HR. You can then create an Azure policy which requires the tag to be applied before the resources is created. So first what we are doing, we are making the resources compliant, and then we are putting a policy in place so that upcoming resources will be also in compliant state. Otherwise, they will not be getting created. Now, monitor and backup Azure resources. Now we have some sample questions onto this. Just look into it and try to answer these questions. What do you guys think? What should be the answer? What should you do first? Okay, let's see. The answer is A. As opposed to application logging option, when enabling the web server logging option, each log access will include HTTP method, resource URI, client IP, client code, this and that, all those information, which for the question is relevant to error code 500, which is coming up. So we will enable web logging, web server logging. Let's talk about the exam. So basically, exam can be done on a test center or from home. So I'll talk about both of them. If you are going to a test center, basically they'll ask you for one of the identification ID, at least one government ID has to be there, right? And basically they'll keep your watch also, because last time when I came, they asked me to keep my phone and my watch. So basically they'll give you one paper, they'll give you one pen, and they'll tell you can use this paper and pen while writing something or thinking about something or drawing something like that, right? And there will be an NDA form also. So there will be an NDA form that Azure will provide you with your email for when you will be selecting the test center. So you need to sign it and you need to provide it to your instructor or whosoever the examinee will be there in the test center. Now you don't have to go through all those things in your home or office. What you need to do is that you can set up, but see, there are two, three things that have to be there. First of all, you cannot use your office laptop to give the examination. It has to be a personal laptop. First thing. Second thing is your webcam should be working. If your webcam is not working, the proctor, whosoever is going to release your examination, when you will be giving your examination, they will not release your examination unless they will see you. Second thing. Third thing, strong internet connectivity. So if there is any disruption in internet connectivity while you are giving the examination, it's gone. You cannot go back to the same page of the examination. And fourth thing is that you need to, so let's say if your examination is 10:30 a.m. morning, you need to log in to your account at somewhere around 9:45. So 40 to 45 minutes before, because there are steps that you need to perform basically. They'll give you a link. They'll ask you to take photo of your laptop where you are sitting, of your right side, of your left side, of your back side, of your front side. And also you need to make sure that when you are giving the examination, nobody should enter that room. If someone enters that room, or if proctor will be able to see someone entering the room from your webcam, then they will cancel out your examination. These are because I have given most of my examinations online. That is the reason why I am able to give you this much of insight to that. So that was regarding the examination. Now, when we will be giving examination, multiple types of question will come up. Multiple choice question, yes or no, drag and drop, fill in the blank. So these are the different types of questions that are there. No penalty, so no negative marking is there. 120 minutes. Earlier it was 180 minutes. Now they have reduced it to 120 minutes. You can mark the questions for future consideration. Maybe you are not sure about it. So what you can do, you can just mark them for future consideration. And then once before submitting, it will tell you that you have marked these many questions for future consideration. You can go through them and you can recheck it. You can go through them and then try to provide the answer to them. As I have said earlier also, you can review your examination as well as 700 is the passing score out of 1000 that you have to score in order to clear your AZ 104 examination. So these are the different mechanics of examination. Let's talk about interview preparation. So guys, so from the time when we started, I actually asked you few questions in between just in order to make sure that we should be pretty much mindful against the answer of those questions, because those are very general, very generic interview questions. But before going there, they have a perfect CV. Most probably, most of the people, we don't majorly work on our CV, or it is quite possible that we are not good in preparing our CV. Hence, we are not able to showcase ourselves in a proper manner, right? So your CV should contain few of the important topics. Is your personal statement, which is your personal profile, your work experience, your professional certifications. Nowadays it matters a lot, the certifications that you do, and then the skills that you have, that you can mention on the CV, and you can also, when you'll be having a discussion, you can showcase it to them. So as per my understanding, if you'll ask me, then I will not mention everything into my CV. I will mention 80% of the things in my CV, and 20% of the things I'll keep it with me. The reason why I'm saying that, because sometimes interviewer can ask, can you tell me anything that you know about, or that you have worked on apart from whatever you have mentioned in the CV. So while answering that question, you should have some a room so that you can also go ahead and answer those kind of questions. You cannot say that I am not going to answer that or something like that, because it is anyhow going to affect the selection of your your selection itself. So that's how I basically prepare for interviews if I have to give an interview. And one more thing, if you'll think about it, interviewee can manage the complete interview. Interviewer is not the one who is on the driving seat. We think that they are on the driving seat, but they are not. The way you will prepare your CV, the way you will introduce yourself, the way you will talk about what all things that you have worked, what all things that you will know, out of that only interviewer will ask questions. Whatever information that you're going to give him regarding yourself, around that only that person is going to ask question, until and unless that person is taking some out of the line, he's going out of the box and then asking you a question. So as per my understanding, an interviewee can himself drive the question. So just think about these things on that line only. If you are preparing, then prepare. We provide you CV. I think there is a sample CV that basically we provide, which is on the right hand side of your screen. If you guys will use the right hand CV which is provided, and you guys can also download the sample CV which is also there in a K21 Academy portal. From there you can download it and you can update your CV, which will look professional. Your certifications will be there. It will be a straightforward CV, that what is your experience summary, what all certifications that you have, what all skill sets that you have. So it looks much more better. The right hand CV is much more better than the left hand CV. So that is what is the difference against the templates of the CVs that we will provide you. Now, general cloud questions that can come up is mentioned here. What is cloud computing? What are different types or deployment models in cloud computing? What are the different deployment models in cloud computing, guys? as, PaaS, and SaaS. Yeah. What are the different types of services offered in cloud? Now here, what you will answer then? Or are the answers same, or what do you think? So see, answer you can also answer is that you have cloud service, you have compute service available, networking service available, storage service available, IAM service available, this service available, that service available. But at a higher level, it's PaaS and it's SaaS, right? So you can manipulate your answer, or you can give in this specific manner also. Now, what is the Azure what is Microsoft Azure and why it is used? We know that it's a cloud computing platform, and the reason why people are moving to cloud compute platform is that it is cost effective. But if we are managing it in a proper manner, then only. I have seen situations where people have moved to become cost effective on Microsoft Azure or any cloud platform, but as they started growing up on cloud, they didn't manage their resources, and they ended up paying more than what they were paying in their on-premises environment. So these kind of insights also you can talk. Which service in Azure is used to manage resources in Azure, guys? Azure Resource Manager, which is the ARM portal, right? ARM portal is the portal that will use to manage resources. Why are virtual machines? What are virtual machine skill sets in Azure? So we know that they are a auto scaling solution that is available on Azure. What is availability stack? What are update domains? We have already discussed about it. So I hope everyone already understand the answer to both of them. Both are interconnected to each other. Now, what do you understand about cloud computing? Can you tell something about Azure Cloud Service? We have already discussed what are the different models that are available. We have already discussed what are the instance types. What are the instance types offered in Azure? In general, what are the different instance types that are available on Azure? In virtual machine, you have different VM sizes. So those are also called as instance types. Call it as general compute instance type is there, memory optimized instance type is there, storage optimized instance type is there, like that. All right. What are the different types of storage offered in Azure? What are the different types of storage services offered in Azure? Should be the correct question. So what are the different storage services that are available in Azure? So in Azure, there are 4 different types of storage services that we offer, right? And they come from storage account, block. So how the Windows Active Directory and Azure Active Directory different? That is the next question. So one is on-premises Active Directory solution. Another one is available, and it comes integrated with Azure itself, Azure Cloud itself. And the difference is also, so there can be multiple differences, but this is one of the major differences. Define Azure Service Level Agreements. What is Azure SLA? What do you think that what it could be? Just think about it, what I am saying. I am saying that Azure Service Level Agreements are those documents in which Azure provides us a level of availability, or you can say that Azure gives us the surety that this much percentage in terms of time my services will be available if you are opting for it. That is what Azure SLA document says, right? So 99.9% means what? 99.9% means your service will be going down approximately 36 minutes in a year. That is what 99.9% means. Are you guys getting my point what I'm saying? So it's just a surety that this is how much, for how much time my service will be available. Like basically my service can go down, but availability will be this much. What is Azure Resource Manager? We know that what is Azure Resource Manager, right? Now there are few further sets. What is RBAC? We can use RBAC is role-based access control, and we can use it for fine-grained resource access management. Explain a use case of alert in Azure. It can be any use case. You just need to explain a use case of alert in Azure. Now it depends upon you how you are going to explain it in a much more beautiful manner, right? Define Azure virtual machine skill set. I think we have already gone through it. what do you understand with the availability set? I think we have that question earlier also, right? Availability set, yes. Then what is ARM template and how it can be used? We have discussed about it a few minutes back. What do you need to do when drive failure occurs? What do you need to do when drive failure occurs? Now tell me guys. If an Azure virtual machine is running and you can see that there is a one drive that has been corrupted, then in that case what you will do? So normally if we are creating any VM in production, we'll make sure that the backup is set up. And if the backup is set up, then only we can go ahead and restore that particular data disk. Or if a snapshot is there, we can restore that particular data disk, and we can also go ahead and restore the VM also. What is Cloud Shell in Azure? What is Cloud Shell? In Cloud Shell, we have two options. One is PowerShell, another one is CLI. So you can switch between PowerShell and CLI in Cloud Shell.
So guys, this was our expert from Team K21 Academy, and if in case you missed upon anything or if you could not understand anything from what our trainers explained, then we have something really special for you. We have our free class on Microsoft Azure Admin Certification for beginners along with some question and answers. Under this class, you'll be learning about who should learn Azure Cloud and why. We'll be learning about Azure Certification Roadmap for beginners, and a lot of demos and about Azure core services, more than 30 plus hands-on labs and whatnot. And if you want to register for this free class, then you just have to log on to k21academy.com/AZ10402. So just now, let me just give you a demo for the same. Alright, so what you have to do is just open your browser and type k21academy.com/AZ10402. After that, you'll be seeing a page like this. You just have to click on book your seats now, and after that just select an event date when you're available, add your name, add your email address, add your phone number, and click on yes, save my seats now. Moving ahead, you'll be seeing this kind of link on the extreme right. Just save that link, add it to your calendars, and I'll see you in this class. Till then, take care and keep learning.